just yesterday, I had a conversation with my older brother. He is going to be preaching at Ozark Christian College here in a few weeks for one of their chapel services. I'll be doing the music for that same service. And as we were talking about this, he launched into an idea that I just kind of wanted to use as a springboard for a discussion with you. He was talking about how in the church we need to have both grit and grace. We need to demonstrate grit, working hard, and grace with people, the way that we interact with them. Both are needed. Sometimes we have to focus more on just muscling through, pushing through, and other times we've got to focus more on showing grace to people. Now notice how I said focus more. Both are needed all the time, but there are seasons or moments where we need to focus more on showing grit and stick-to-itiveness, and other times we need to focus more on revealing grace to people. There are two passages that come to mind. One is Colossians 3:23. It says that whatever you do, give it your very best as if you were working for the master and not for human beings. And then later on in chapter 4, verse 6, Paul wrote, when you speak, make sure it's always full of grace and well flavored with salt. That way, you'll know how to give each person an appropriate answer. The bottom line is that we would always work hard as if we're working for God. But our hard work cannot be used as an excuse to bulldoze over people. We should also show grace at all times to others. But that doesn't mean that we, in the name of showing grace, we do shoddy work or we be lazy. Both grit and grace are needed. And I hope that as a part of the praise team that you regularly receive grace from me. Northside is a grace-filled community, and I hope that you feel this is true on the praise team. But I also want this team to be a group that works hard for the glory of God. Regarding rehearsal attendance, allow me to shine a light on two things: the expectations and the assumptions. When it comes to rehearsal, we have expectations and assumptions. No matter what your role is on the team, the expectation is that you'll be at Thursday night rehearsal for each of the Sunday services for which you volunteer. That's the expectation. The assumption is that if you can't make rehearsal, you'll communicate that to me in a timely manner. Now, most everyone on the team follows the exception and the assumption really well. But let me challenge you with just one thought. Knowing that I will respond with grace for whatever reason you give me when you can't attend rehearsal, that doesn't necessarily mean that every reason to miss rehearsal is probably a valid reason. Now, many of us have very valid reasons, and I am not going to use this video as an opportunity to determine whether your reason for missing rehearsal is valid or not. Okay, we can always navigate that later on, and I'll show you grace for that. All I'm asking is that everyone on the team would just seriously consider the reason when we have to miss a rehearsal, and just make sure that you feel it's truly a valid reason before you let me know that you're going to miss. Where's this coming from? Here recently, I was just reflecting on my growing up in the church years. When I was in high school, I played bass guitar, 1 or 2 Sundays a month in the worship ministry. And my worship minister was very grace-filled with me. Our church practiced on Saturday nights. And when I was kind of late high school, early college, I had much better things to do on a Saturday night than show up for rehearsal. You can blame Leah for that. But anyway, there would be plenty of times I would miss rehearsal, and I knew what I was doing. And then not only would I miss Saturday night rehearsal, but I would show up on Sunday morning late. And I'm not just saying like a few minutes late. I'm talking like really late. Like the service has already started. I'm not there. And I'm maybe one song into the service when I run in with my bass guitar into the side door and just right into my spot. Now, I wasn't on the stage. I was on the floor down there with the piano. But the point is, I come in late, I plug in, and I start to play along. And that is shoddy. That is more than shoddy. And Phil Marins just showed me a ton of grace during that season of my life. And I remember later on even coming up to him, apologizing and just saying, I was a doofus. And I'm sorry that I did not value rehearsal like I should. And so that's kind of an extreme example. But all I'm meaning in this is that when I say that I will show you grace, I understand that you are volunteering your time. I totally get that. You're volunteering your time. I will always respect that, and I will always show you grace. I'm just asking that as a team, we make this commitment to always make things better. One of the best ways that we can do that is by prioritizing rehearsal and the importance of being there. I think this is just one of the ways that we can have both grit and grace in this ministry. I would love to hear your feedback on this, and so feel free to comment or just to reach out to me directly. But just know that I appreciate you all. We're just trying to take our ministry up to the next level. It's important. It matters. Your role matters. And it's just something for you to think about this week. It's just a thought.